Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here with us. Today, we're unpacking some absolutely crucial health insights from a truly eye-opening source. We are going to break down the science, the risks, and most importantly, the practical solutions surrounding a threat that is, well, pretty much invisible. We're talking about the hidden dangers of senior dehydration and heat stress. And to kick things off, we're going to start with a story. A story about a completely everyday habit that quietly and unexpectedly turned deadly.
So I want you to imagine something. What if an everyday habit could turn deadly in a matter of minutes? It sounds like a movie plot, right? But recently, the story of a 79-year-old man absolutely shocked his family and his doctors. Now, he wasn't climbing a mountain, and he certainly wasn't doing extreme sports. He was just doing something millions of seniors do every single day without a second thought. But within hours, his life changed forever. Because what happened to this man? It could happen to anyone's parent, grandparent, spouse, or even you.
Let's walk through exactly what happened that morning. The whole thing began on what seems like a totally normal day. He woke up feeling slightly tired, nothing too unusual. He had high blood pressure and mild heart disease, sure, but he managed both with medication. After breakfast, he headed outside to do some yard work in the warm weather. Now, he hadn't had much water, and he decided to skip his usual rest breaks just to get it finished quickly. An hour later, he felt dizzy. He ignored it. Next came the shortness of breath. He kept going. And then, literally minutes later, he collapsed. Tragically, despite emergency medical care, he didn't survive.
When doctors later looked at the evidence, they figured out exactly what went wrong. It was this lethal combination: dehydration, heat stress, and overexertion. Together, these three factors placed an absolutely enormous, fatal strain on his heart. The yard work itself wasn't the enemy here. It was the invisible accumulation of stress on a body that was lacking the fluids it desperately needed to cool down and function properly. Okay, let's dive into section 1, why age changes everything. To really grasp why this happened, we have to look at the biology. As we get older, our bodies become so much more vulnerable to hidden risks that barely affect younger adults. The physical mechanics of how we process heat and water literally change. First off, our bodies become less efficient at regulating temperature. Second, and this is a huge one, our sense of thirst actually decreases. Honestly, many seniors never feel thirsty, even when their bodies are practically screaming for fluids. And third, our kidneys just conserve water less effectively. By the time that physical sensation of thirst finally shows up, dehydration is already secretly messing with your blood pressure, your heart function, and your brain performance.
But biology isn't the whole story. Medications matter too, a lot. Many of the most common prescriptions for seniors, things like diuretics, blood pressure medications, and certain antidepressants, they actively increase your risk of dehydration. This means an activity that felt like a breeze last year or even last week can suddenly become a huge danger simply because of how a medication is interacting with your body's fluid levels on a warm day.
So, beyond the biology and the meds, there's another really surprising piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, why do some seniors intentionally avoid drinking water? It's not just that they aren't thirsty. Sometimes it is a conscious, deliberate choice to restrict fluids, whether they're sitting inside in the AC or outside in the garden.
The answer to that is both totally understandable and highly dangerous. It's the fear of incontinence and those frequent trips to the bathroom. A lot of older adults purposefully drink less water simply because they don't want to be inconvenienced, or maybe they feel a little embarrassed. But unfortunately, that decision to avoid a minor inconvenience, it can create much bigger, life-threatening health crises.
Moving right along to section 2, the hidden warning signs.
Now, this is where things get really tricky. When you're dehydrated, your blood volume actually drops. That forces your heart to work much, much harder to pump blood. If you already have heart disease, diabetes, or high blood pressure, this extra strain is basically a ticking clock. This is exactly why these emergencies catch so many families off guard. When we think of heat stroke, we expect to see, heavy sweating and flushed red skin. But actually, scratch that. In older adults, the symptoms are way more subtle. We're talking confusion, sudden weakness, nausea, a rapid heartbeat, difficulty walking. These signs are so often brushed off as, just a normal part of aging. They're absolutely not. They are urgent medical warnings that the body's internal cooling system is failing.
So here is a definitive list of the early warning signs you must never, ever ignore. Dark urine, dry mouth, fatigue, getting dizzy when you stand up, muscle cramps, headaches, and confusion. The biggest mistake folks make is trying to push through this discomfort. A lot of seniors grew up believing that stopping to rest means you're weak. They tell themselves, I'll just finish mowing the lawn or I'll grab a glass of water later. But in this situation, pushing through is quite literally the most dangerous thing you can do.
All right, on to section 3, building safe hydration habits.
Let's pivot to the good news. All of this is entirely preventable. We don't need to live in fear, we just need a system. The goal here is to make hydration an automatic, everyday habit, instead of waiting until you feel thirsty, because as we've learned, thirst is a pretty faulty alarm clock as we age. So here's how you build a foolproof daily routine. Step 1, drink a glass of water the absolute second you wake up. Step 2, have another glass with every single meal. Step 3, sip water regularly throughout the day. Don't just chug it all at once. And step 4, whenever you leave the house, carry a refillable water bottle. It acts like a visual cue to remind you to keep that internal cooling system running smoothly.
And hi, hydration isn't just about what you drink, it's about what you eat too. Incorporating water-rich foods like watermelon, cucumbers, oranges, strawberries, soups, and yogurt naturally boosts your daily fluid intake. It's like sneaking in extra water. And if plain water is just too boring for you, toss in a few slices of lemon, some berries, or a little mint to make it refreshing.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 4, Adapting for Independence. Look, taking these precautions isn't about limiting your life or sitting inside all day. It's about extending your life. Regular movement like walking, gardening, and light exercise is still absolutely one of the best things seniors can do for their heart and muscle strength. We just need to adapt wisely. And the most crucial step you can take to adapt wisely is to simply have a conversation. Talk to your doctor or your pharmacist and ask them straight up, do any of my medications increase my risk of dehydration or heat-related illness? Seriously, don't guess. Getting clarity on your specific prescriptions is a tiny step that could literally save your life. When you do decide to head outside, follow these non-negotiable safety rules. Schedule your activities during the cooler hours, like early morning or evening, and completely avoid that midday heat. Take frequent, intentional breaks in the shade. Wear lightweight, breathable clothing. And above all else, listen to your body and stop immediately if you feel dizzy, weak, or short of breath. No exceptions. Now, if you live alone, you've got to build a safety net. Create a simple check-in system with your family members, friends, or neighbors during periods of extreme heat. A quick 2-minute phone call just to say, hey, I'm feeling good, I've had my water today, makes a massive difference. It just ensures someone is looking out for you if those subtle warning signs start to creep in. And for the caregivers and family members tuning in, you play such an essential role here. Watch for those small, seemingly minor changes in behavior. Is your loved one unusually tired? Are they a little more confused than normal? Have they subtly stopped eating or drinking as much? Please don't dismiss these as simply having an off day. These tiny behavioral shifts are your cue to step in and check their hydration immediately. I really want you to remember this one core message. Growing older doesn't mean giving up your independence. It just means adapting wisely. The 79-year-old man in our story didn't know he was at risk. His family wishes they had known these warning signs. But today, you do. Knowledge gives you the power to make better choices, to respect your body's changing needs, and to stop a tragedy before it ever even happens. So that leaves us with one final, really vital question to consider. Will you wait for thirst to tell you it's time to drink, relying on a system that biology has changed? Or will you take control of your health today? Your health is shaped by the small choices you make every single day. Start pouring that extra glass of water, ask your doctor those important questions, and stay safe out there. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.